Hello. Hello. Welcome to the downside. We're trying. We're going to try this out. We just recorded an episode, and now we're recording the intro, like separate from the episode. I don't know if I like it.
I'm going to pretend I don't know anything about what just happens.
No, I think you're supposed to be like, this is a great episode. We talked about.
Oh, I thought we were going to pretend like we have, like, we're acting like, we don't have any sort of memory of what,
Sure.
But you want to do it like that we're
I think people do the thing where it's like we talked about dating someone who has a kid and teaching preschool.
But why? So why tell people what they're about? I see what you're saying.
Well, just to be like, here's what you're in store for, so you're not surprised. Trigger warnings. I think this whole thing should be a trigger warning. Long trigger warning.
But what if they're like, I don't really want to hear about those 3 or 4? Like, if we try to narrow it down, is that going to limit us?
You're saying like they're going to be like, you know what? I don't want to listen to this.
I don't want to hear about a theater thing, and
Well, don't give away. I know we did. We did touch a little bit of theater. Those trigger warnings. This was going to be. I never got around to it. This has got to stop. Where, like NPR, whenever it's a story about like sexual assault or whatnot, they'll talk about a trigger warning, and then they'll move on to a story about some bombing in Ukraine where like 20 people exploded, and you're like, oh, well, that's really bad too.
Yeah.
It's just very interesting, like where it's doled out. Also, like trigger warnings on like tweets, I think are really ridiculous because your eyes take in the full tweet. Like it says like TW.
Yes.
TW sexual assault.
And then you see the words,
child
the bad
raped
words
by a priest, and you're like,
yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Well, this episode coming up, if you're watching it, you're gonna notice Russell's angle disappears suddenly, and it's because a memory card got full. So many things, but how do you feel? You feel good about the spaces coming together?
Gianmarco, it looks so good. The walls look great. We have the yellow chairs. The chairs and the walls complement each other great. We got a plant in the corner, which is really nice. That
fake plant
brings some life into this soulless room, and like it feels welcoming. It feels warm.
Good, because it's still tight. It's a tight room.
It does. It feels like you raised the ceiling about 7 feet.
That's very nice.
I'm not lying. I'm getting rid of that thing in the corner, that TV not being there. That was just like it looks so much better.
Tova will be very happy to hear that. So if you hate this, let us know, because we might do this in the future.
If they hate your room?
No, not the room.
Oh.
If you hate this little intro thing.
Oh.
I always feel self-conscious because it was like a big joke where Mark Maron will start all his episodes where he does a solo thing for like 13 minutes, and I always skip it.
Oh, yeah.
Him just talking for 13 minutes. But I think maybe it's because it was just him, and I've always hated that. I can't listen. Bill Burr, who I love, I tried listening to that podcast where he just talks for an hour. And
is every episode does he not have
it's just
guests?
him. He'll bring on his wife for a second or talk to someone, but it's the Monday morning him just talking.
About like just thoughts.
Going to the
world.
store, and he like riffs, and I need some kind of feedback. I mean, the whole, if I tried that solo thing the whole time, be like, please write me to let me know if you thought that was funny. Write me to let me know if you thought this was funny. So maybe with 2 people it's not as bad. But it's good to see you. You went to New Orleans, and then you ghosted me, and we talked about it.
Did I ghost you?
You made a decision.
Okay, talk more.
To text, to like not text back really. For a couple of days, which is, listen, let me say this first.
Yeah.
2 things. First, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think it was surprising, and I had to like figure it out on my own.
Yeah, I think.
And before we also had a group chat going with our sketch team, and the rules didn't seem to apply to the group chat. And I think that's the part that made me go, I think my feelings are hurt.
For sure. Okay, listen. I think there is a bit of a Wild West in me when it comes to texting. And it really is like, I can imagine only like if you like casting something, and you're like, if you get my attention, if you catch me with something flashy, I will respond in the moment sometimes. But in general, I was in New Orleans and I was not responding to a lot of people's texts. So just know that.
Sure.
So A of all that was happening. B of all though, like, sometimes you find yourself, even when you're in a fun place doing something, if a text came through and I did see something, I'd be like, oh, I should respond. And I had the guilt thing of like, oh, I haven't been present, but I would respond to whatever was coming through that was new, but I wasn't going back to what was old.
I see.
And so there is sometimes that is what happens. I do admit I'm not always very like on it, and I think like honestly, because I looked back and I was like, oh, you did reach out, and I didn't have a memory of you reaching out, and I didn't have a memory of me looking at it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just need to up my game in terms of more pictures, more gifts. I think it's fine. I think it's so hard in this world. I think we all have different texting things. I think sometimes I feel an unfair, because I am a phone person and everyone knows I'm a phone person, that like I'm expected to respond. And I have some people that like if I don't respond, they go, I know you're on your phone.
Yeah.
And there's it's just hard. I don't know. It's just hard. It totally made sense when someone goes on vacation. It's like, oh, they're busy. But I think it truly was just the seeing of like the two worlds back to back.
Yeah.
Of a group chat and a regular chat, where I was like,
but was I that active in the group chat?
Oh my God. You were writing out scenes. You were telling full stories.
Wait.
When people wrote things, you were writing back, ha, 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 like the long one. voice memos.
No, I wasn't doing any of that. I feel like there was like one
There
time.
was a significant difference.
And I'm going to have to go back and look at the timestamps of everything.
I printed it out.
Okay. Yeah.
But we're okay now.
Were we really not okay?
No, I think there was just like one moment in particular that I was like, where I was like, oh, I think I'm sad.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gianmarco.
It's
I
okay.
didn't mean to make you
sad.
sad.
We have a good texting relationship.
No, we have a very good. I text
I'm
you
just a
more
sensitive
than most
boy.
people. No, I know, and I know that.
Was New Orleans fun? Did you have a good time though?
I did. I
mean, does it? You love New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Does every trip just like you're like, yep, it hit it?
I think I'll say this. The only negative, I think, doing this for Mardi Gras was, I'm so thankful to have done it, and it was like one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. But I also think that's not something I'd want to do, especially if I don't live there. There's a certain amount of energy and like, whoa, to do that. And so I feel, and it's a lot of money, and it's so I think that I'm gonna go back to New Orleans next year, probably just for like a quick weekend sort of thing, and not during Mardi Gras. It just was. I would say actual Mardi Gras day, though, I've never seen anything like it. Like, we got up at like 5 a.m. to like start doing stuff. We went and saw something like there's this event that happens in this neighborhood where they perform on a drum thing. They wake up the neighborhood, and that started at like 6 a.m. So we were out and about. We went back and got in our costumes and that sort of thing. And then we were at this like met in this area to do this walking parade at like 8 a.m. And it was like 8 a.m. The streets are completely filled with people in costumes that must have taken weeks or months, homemade costumes to make, and everyone has them. And it was like, it just was like one of those things where you're like, the entire city is doing this today. There's not like people that are like, oh, I'm not going to blah, blah, blah. Like, it was like, it's just music, and it's like this big street party for miles. You just walk, and it's just like you're popping in, meeting new people. That's the day I got COVID. So just
you're saying the only downside you didn't include
we were walking into like people's homes. They were at like makeshift bars at people's homes that they're like, come in, contribute.
Did you black out at all? Or you just
pay what you will? No, it was like
steadily drunk throughout the whole day.
I would say of all. You've been partying like the whole week prior, so you're a little like, But I would say we realized we didn't eat at all until like 2 p.m. And I've probably never seen Nicole as drunk as she was. And I was like, we got to eat, because things are, and we ate, and then it was like, we kept going, and then it was like 5 or 6, and we were like, you know what? I think we did it. We'd been up 12 hours at that point.
That's a lot.
Stuff. And we're like, that night we just went home and then did not like move the whole next day.
Did you have any of what was the alcohol I had that knocked
purple
me out?
drink? I did have, not on Mardi Gras, but I did it a different day.
You had purple? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'll just never get that feeling of being at that round table and being like we had just taken an edible.
Yeah.
And I was just like, guys, are you feeling wasted? Halfway through that fucking drink.
Yeah.
That's the drink. Absinthe?
No, Everclear is in it.
Everclear.
Yeah.
That's the one that my sister, she went to the hospital once. She was at a concert in college and had Everclear.
Yeah, it's like
and was so
wildly.
drunk that she was at the hospital and thought she was still at the concert.
Oh, no.
And man, that is too funny
Yeah.
to me. I'm pretty sure I have that right. I've just been like, what?
Oh, that's
Who's
really
next?
funny.
Woo! Like lighting a lighter in the middle of the hospital room. They're like, honey. Oh my God. Well, I'm glad that you're back. I'm glad the COVID was fine.
Yeah.
I think the episode after this one is going to be another one without you because I'm recording it in LA. Still working on the guest.
Do we not have things on the books for...
Wait, this is not what we do in the intro. We don't have to go through the calendar very slowly and boringly for everyone listening. So do me a favor. Listen, Downsiders. I know you're out there. You exist. I hear about you. Keep telling your friends about the show. The numbers are growing, but I want to be able to say to Russell, hey, you want to go to New Orleans? We're going to do a live Downside in New Orleans. I'll do some stand-up shows. It'll be very cool.
God.
And I think we're going to get there eventually, but you guys can help us get there sooner. This is a great episode. If you missed Russell, I'm sorry for the lack of Russell in these couple episodes, but he'll be back after the next one.
Yes.
And you're going to enjoy this episode with the very funny Katie Hannigan. I realize normally from here to the regular episode, they have like music.
Yes.
And I can't play the Downside theme song this many times.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot.
So let's just risk whatever this button is. It's going to be the transition music. Welcome to the Downside with Gianmarco Soresi. And finally, the return of Russell Daniels.
Yeah, I'm back.
We had 2 guest co-hosts.
Was that it?
You were in New Orleans, and then he had COVID for the 3rd time.
Oh my God!
For the
Third time's the
third
charm.
Time.
That's the charm.
Original? Was that called anything? Was it called a variant, or do variants only exist? Is the first one not a variant?
I don't know.
Is that just COVID-19?
COVID. Yeah,
OG
COVID-19.
COVID.
And then was it Delta?
Delta.
Was the second kind of
Delta,
thing?
which is one I got that you gave to me.
Well, it's debatable, but and then Omicron.
Yeah, and now they have the Deltacron, and they have the other Omicron. So,
Really?
yes.
Okay. Well,
I've heard about this.
I'm
been
usually
many.
pretty good for like 6 months or so, and then yeah.
You just succumb.
Yeah,
Wow.
I definitely got mine in New Orleans because
Because look at the pictures he posted. It looks like he was looking for it.
I know. Well,
looked like he went to
it
New
was
Orleans
for
and said,
Mardi
"Give it to me
Gras.
a
It was
third
very
time."
crowded. So,
That'll
but
do
I was
it.
there for a full week, and I didn't get sick till the 2 or 3 days after I got home. So it was like probably on Mardi Gras day. So. But worth it to a degree. I had to cancel a lot of things.
Good. We missed our sketch show.
Yeah.
You missed the podcast. We had Ian Fidance was a co-host.
Oh,
it's very
lovely.
funny. I realized about Ian is because normally I'm kind of the of the 2 of us. I'm pushing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pushing the boundaries
He's a
little
bit of
more.
chaos monster.
Ian is.
Yeah.
Ian, where I'm the one like Ian. You can't say that. Ian, no,
Yeah,
please.
Yeah.
He's a wild man.
Yeah,
He is a wild man. He's very funny. He loves pressing the buttons. He kept
Oh,
pressing
yeah.
all the buttons. That's his thing.
Ooh. I thought you meant figuratively. I was like, yes, and
that
he
too,
does.
that
he really
too.
does.
He's
He's pushing the envelope. He's pressing the buttons. He's a mess in the office.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to before we talk formally with Katie Hannigan, who
Hello.
just had an album come out a couple weeks ago. Now,
Yes.
the feeling of emptiness.
Feeling of emptiness.
Feeling of emptiness. I love it. I can relate to it already. I got to be vague about this one. This is my complaint.
Oh.
I told Russell more. So I had maybe a family member who.
You could say other maybes.
There's so many maybes. Maybe a family member.
Yeah.
Maybe, I guess, something else.
An old school friend, perhaps.
An old school
I'll
friend.
help vagging this up a
Because
little bit.
if it was an old school friend, my solution to this would be to never speak to them again. I think that's why. It where someone connected to someone, they have cancer.
Oh.
They have cancer.
Oh, too bad.
I believe stage 4 breast cancer, but this is where things get complicated.
This narrows it down.
That's true.
just-
We've now
Maybe
got
a
this gender.
female family member.
Well, yeah. Okay, keep going.
So I told you this 10 seconds ago. You're like, well, let me clarify a couple things. I was told through perhaps another family member, there's a lot of second hands here that one morning I got this text, this person has terminal breast cancer. Now, the word terminal, I think, is a pretty clear word.
I feel like it reminds me of the airport.
Well,
That's where my mind goes.
Yes.
I got to get a snack and I got to hurry.
Well, fittingly, the airport reminds me of crashing and then dying, so it's all a loop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Terminal to me means, again, this is not scientific, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, so they're going to die sometime in the next week to the next year.
Yes.
And it means death is on the door. Death is knocking. And it turned out, I found out later, I make some calls. I'm very anxious about helping. What is my role? What is my responsibility? And then it ended up still being stage 4 cancer, I think, but not terminal. And I guess the person used the word terminal in a moment of passion, or they were exaggerating, or they were expressing a fear, but they expressed it in a way where they said the word terminal. And I have this thing with a lot of my family now. My family,
or maybe family,
Sorry. on one side or another, my dad's or my mom's, where people exaggerate medical stuff.
Okay.
In a way where I can't have the proper emotional response I want to, because it's accompanied by a feeling of skepticism about what the truth is. And I find myself very verklempt and frustrated about it, because when I found out that the word terminal was used inappropriately, there was no room to get angry, because the cancer is still there. And the person who used the word terminal is not the person with the cancer.
Yes.
So there was just this thing where I couldn't go, hey, what the fuck? Because they're dealing with someone, a loved one, who has terminal stage 4 breast cancer. But then now in my head, I'm like, well, is it stage 4? Is it not clear? Are your headphones okay, Katie?
Yeah, sorry. They're a little... Is it okay if I don't wear these?
You don't have to wear them.
we don't have to
because
wear them.
it's, my head is so delicate.
Yeah.
And it's just pressing. I'm so sorry to interrupt the story.
Maybe
I don't want
you
to
have
make this
stage
about me.
4
I don't want to
brain
make
cancer.
This is not about me.
This is
And I don't want to make it about me.
the downside.
1, 2, 3.
There's music playing.
Oh, great.
I figured we'd get out of the way. Your headphones.
You're listening to The Downside
The glasses, it
with
presses
Gianmarco
it, and I
Soresi.
just...
Yeah.
Sure.
So, but then I saw he wasn't wearing them, so I thought, okay,
Mine
maybe I
couldn't-
could
Are
do
they that terrible?
No, I couldn't hear it. It wasn't turned. I didn't realize, and then
This
I was like,
is your
what's the
knob
point
right
of that?
here.
It's fine. I don't want to use them. We're
I'm like,
revolting. We're not
I'm,
using them
I'm
today.
like thinking about the money I spent on the headphones. I'm like, I could have just had one pair of
No, I
headphones.
usually
No,
wear them.
no, sure.
I'm not going to do it today. I'm
Sure.
just going to try it without it.
Well, back to the cancer.
Yes.
So it's very frustrating. I don't know. It's just like this is a new phase with my family and people getting older, where
Yeah.
like it just is a nightmare of parsing all this stuff out. And I have never. I'm dealing so much with every person who tells me stuff about my family on this one side. They're all unreliable narrators, and that's fun in movies, but in real life, it prevents you from being able to deal with anything appropriately. And you can't, when it deals with this kind of stuff, you can't ever get mad because the person is always in some level of duress. So that's just where I'm at. I don't know if you're...
But it's confusing, though, because stage 4 is the worst cancer that you can have, isn't
Yeah.
it? But it's not the same as terminal cancer.
Yes, well, like stage
Right?
4 could mean you have to get a mastectomy, perhaps. But then there's like terminal is like it's spread to the heart, and you
Right.
can't get
that
a
means you're
heartectomy.
definitely going to die.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I knew a couple people that had stage 4, and then they're, fresh as a daisy. They made it through. So it's not that bad sometimes.
And honestly, the only person I could contact to get the truth from is the person who is not part of the family who has the thing. But I can't call this person who I don't know very well and be like, hey, just want to check. Are you dying?
Yeah.
Do you even have cancer?
Do you even have
Yeah,
cancer? Like,
yeah.
how bad is this? I just want to have some facts on the ground. Sometimes I want to talk to the doctor.
Yeah, it sounds a little Munchausen-y. A little Munchausen
Sure.
by exaggeration.
But it's a mix because, it's like I almost said the person who it's about had an operation. I'm sure anyone who listens to this can narrow all this down by now.
Oh my God.
Had an operation where, so there is real stuff going on, but
Yeah.
it's mixed with hypochondria.
Yeah.
And so I'm just at a loss, and sometimes you wish, I want to be like, hey, can I just talk to your doctor? Can I go over your head and talk to the doctor? Because
Yeah.
the surgery was I could talk to the doctor, and I said, what are the odds
Yeah.
of death on the table?
Yeah.
And I could get that number for real, which I
Okay.
believe was 1.5%.
Oh,
so I
that's
said,
very
okay.
low.
I said, so what percentage do you think I need to cancel my weekend at Looney Bin, Oklahoma City? And
A fine club. You don't want to miss it.
I said, do I need to cancel my shows? He said, what club? Looney Bin.
Yeah.
You should come home for this
You'll
one.
want to cancel. You'll want to cancel.
Do you wonder if you just started if you just started in your head being like, okay, they're lying, but then giving them the response they wanted, but then in your head being like, everything will be fine, and then
But then if it's not fine, then now I feel bad.
then you lived a longer amount of time thinking it was fine. You gave them the appropriate response that they were looking for in the moment.
Sure.
And then also, then if something bad happens, you lived your life being like, oh, I didn't know that was going to happen. Does that make sense?
I don't know.
Yeah, if I could
I agree
parse.
with that. That also sounds dishonest in a different way.
Yeah.
You're just like, could you just lie your way through life?
No, that's
and
true.
Be at peace with it?
But I don't know. I don't know what to tell you because I do feel like knowing, I've heard you've talked about this before. I do feel like there's really not. I don't know who you would go. You're not going to get the truth.
Of
You're
course.
not going to get like what you're looking for. So I don't know.
I
what
envy.
to advise.
Some people make jokes. They say their parents like don't tell them about all their medical stuff. Tova's mom wrote to her just like, your father's retina detached. We're almost done with surgery, and it was like after. It was after everything was done. There was no like, I think your dad's going blind.
Yeah.
The doctor think it could have to be removed. We're out of. It just was at the end, and I'm so envious of that.
Yeah.
I am so envious of not knowing anything.
Yeah.
How are your parents?
My dad had a heart surgery a few years ago, and he had AFib, which is not too
What's
uncommon.
the name? Tell me what that is.
I'm not sure what it stands for. Atrial fibrillation.
Yes.
It's when your heart beats irregularly. The electricity in your heart is somehow irregular. So it's a kind of procedure where they go in, and my parents did. They did kind of a hilarious thing where they didn't tell us anything. They just acted like everything was fine, and then about 2 weeks before the surgery, they dropped it on us. So it was like, well, we didn't want to tell you, but things are very serious and something's seriously wrong. And it's like, so wait, but then you did tell us. so they kind of got the best of both worlds, where they kept a secret, but then they dropped the bomb on us. And it is a pretty serious surgery if you're older, but it's not like, for example, as serious as like a quadruple bypass or something like that, where it's like
So it's a
you're
quintuple.
cranking open your chest. Yeah. This is actually a very minimally invasive surgery, although it is still like very hard on people. So it was a big deal. And then my dad, fine. He's all good.
How did they open his chest, or did they like go through the nose?
It was like a little. I think they went in through the like the something down here,
It's just,
through the bottom part. It was kind of a whoopsie daisy, an upside down cake, as they call it.
We've talked about
medical.
every time you hear these kind of things, you're like, how many other ways did they try before they figured out you could
where
access
you
the
should
heart
go.
through there?
Yeah.
How many people died when they went through the nose, the eye, the ear, and the mouth?
I can't.
The penis.
They were just poking around down there for a long time. I saw that the Nick. Did you see that
Yes,
show?
I saw
Yeah,
the Nick.
yeah.
I think about the Nick all the time. Whenever people are like, "Oh, I wish I had been born in the 50s or the 1800s," I'm like,
Oh,
just look at what the
please.
operations were. The
Oh,
Nick had this scene
please.
where this woman, she had a miscarriage, and she like won't let go of the dead baby's body. She has a mental breakdown, and so they go, "Oh, we think there's toxins in the teeth." So they remove all her teeth.
Yes, that was like a common practice in Victorian England, even like as a wedding present. It would be like, just get the wife's teeth removed so she doesn't like cost any more money down the road.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And then they put
That used to
do
be
they
the
have like
reveal
dentures?
of where
do they have
put
like
the white thing up at the wedding. It was just so you saw
Oh,
her
the
for
veil!
the first time with no teeth.
Here comes surprise!
I do. Well, I'm glad your dad's doing better.
Shout out! My dad listens to all my podcasts.
Really?
So he
Really?
will be finding this one. It's his hobby.
Oh.
He loves podcasts and he loves comedy.
My mom listens, which is good because the story's not about her.
Well, good for her. Good for her. I'm glad that you clarified. We've been narrowing this down.
yeah,
We've really
yeah.
been narrowing this down.
Listen, if they never that ever says, "Dude, do your jokes about your parents upset them?" I'm like, my dad doesn't watch my stand-up.
No.
Oh, bless his heart. Well,
Bless his
sorry, you
heart.
can have my dad. He's a lot
Careful,
shorter
I'll,
than you.
I'll take you up on that.
And my dad is he's only about 5'8", so he would look so cute next to you. I think would be like, oh, we got a tall boy somehow in the family. That would be fun.
How tall are you?
5'4".
5'4". Okay, that's my mom's height. Yeah, there
Okay,
you
we
go.
could do a little switcheroo.
Sure.
But how tall are you? 5. You're 6.
5.
5. Look at his face.
I'm 5'16". 6'4".
My goodness.
You did quick
Look at
math
you.
there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I think I've made that joke before.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Well, okay. Still impressive. What?
I like that as a mystery. 5'16". I like that. Looking into the other camera for the punchline.
You grew up in Indianapolis.
Yes.
I'm
yes,
going
I
there
did.
soon. I'm going to do the little room at Helium.
Oh, it's lovely.
Or actually, I should say I just got back from Helium, Indianapolis. I had a great time.
Oh, I'm sure. Indianapolis has great comedy people. It's a good Midwestern audience. They love a joke. They'll let you get a little edgy. They'll let you do a little political stuff if you want.
Good.
They're pretty good. And downtown Indianapolis is, well, the mall has gone downhill. I'll say that much. The mall has gone downhill, and the Helium is in the mall.
Oh,
You
it's in the
guessed
mall.
it. It is in the mall.
Man, there's something about
Most malls have gone downhill. I think it's like a very
Yeah.
American thing that now is like dying.
We did
right?
we did an episode on my podcast about it, the decline of the American mall. Mm-hmm. But I love
that's
a
the
mall.
name of the podcast. It's just all mall.
It was a
Every
we had a
episode.
little mall. No, it was just one episode.
I know.
It was a full, it was a chronicle. It was a year by year. It was a bit of a Ken Burns podcast on malls. Yes. But yeah, it's great. I love Indianapolis. It's like a little kind of bastion of like city life, and in most of Indiana, it's just cornfields. So it's like once you get out of the little highway perimeter, you're just kind of in the abyss.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but now let's just run the downside. What sucks about Indianapolis? Anything?
Sorry.
Well, so you already
Having
gave it to me.
I'm having like
I
a,
mean,
having some kind of reaction. It's great. It is pretty conservative. I think I haven't lived there. I moved here in 2008 to New York, so it's been so long that I have barely really recognized it anymore. They have terrible traffic. I know that. I went there a few years ago. I was doing like a daytime TV. I was doing like morning news or something. I had no idea that the traffic was gonna. They were like, make sure you leave early. I was like, please. I live in New York. I was in traffic for 3 hours. I missed the show.
in Indianapolis.
It was crazy because everybody just drives there, and it's a small city. It's like,
Oh God.
it's like 800,000 people in the city.
Wow.
It's not big.
Was this morning radio to promote a show?
Yeah, it was the show that I was there for. So I was like going there to do, and then I was
What a
like, well,
bummer.
okay.
I just did. It was on Zoom. It was for Fox News. I'm in Gilda's Laugh Fest.
Oh, fun.
And it's I got to tell you, it's for the Clean Comedy Showcase.
Yes.
And something about it, there's just something in me that I feel some kind of embarrassment of like being part of this clean, like it's advertised, it's about that it's clean.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Wait, is there a
selling point.
dirty version also?
There's a dirty show, too.
How do they
Yeah.
pick? Like, did you submit for both? Like, how?
No, I just got the offer. I don't even
okay.
know. I don't know why anyone considers. Sometimes people go like, "Oh, you're clean." I'm like, it makes me. I'm like, I'm not clean.
Yeah.
But the clean one is for like people who don't like to laugh as much. And there's something about, I don't know, doing this morning radio, I'm like, oh, I want to be funny. I want to like bring something of myself. I see some clips of like Sam Morril had some bit where they asked him like, how'd you get into comedy? Which is the horrible question. And he said something about like the way Spider-Man was bit by a spider, his uncle molested him or something. And I think like, oh, I wish I had that kind of chutzpah. Over Zoom, it feels impossible to really do much.
Yes, it's tricky on Zoom. It just everything feels like choreographed. Like, this is an organic moment.
Yeah.
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 And the hosts for these shows, I mean, they're just like, ha 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 ha. They're like animatrons, just laughing at everything you're saying. You lose sense of what's real.
Yeah.
And it all feels kind of corny.
Yeah, that's the thing about clean comedy. It does when you just do comedy and you're not labeling it as clean comedy, then it's like, oh, this is just comedy.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
you label it as clean comedy, then it's like, is Jesus here? Are we part of a cult? Is this a mega church? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's the thing.
that's
is
so
that
true.
It feels like religion is guiding the way in terms of like what these standards are. And so it's like Clean Comedy Showcase. And I'm like, this feels like it's Christian comedy in a way. Where I don't know. I looked at all the rules yesterday, and there were like 3 different documents with the rules. And
Is
all
it
the
related
words
to
you
that
can't
dry
say.
bar? To the dry bar?
No, it's not dry bar.
Yeah.
It's for Laugh USA, the Sirius XM
Okay,
channel.
yes. Okay.
And like, so there's a word, a list of like the words you can't say.
I've seen that paper for Sirius.
Yeah. And then
some of the words are hilarious, though.
I'll pull it up because it is very funny. Because some of the words you're like, oh, I forgot that was a word. And now
some of the words you're like, yes, I would never say that. And then some of the words are like goose hammer. You're like, oh, is that? It's like an obscure slur from like the 20s. Get away, you goose hammer.
And it's been so embarrassing. I've been going around doing some bits, like one where I say the word smart ass, and now I do it on stage going smart aleck. I've been working on saying oh my gosh instead of oh my god.
Well, you can say, oh my God.
It's not 100% clear.
That's the other thing. It's never 100% clear. It's always like, you should be able to do it in front of 7-year-olds. It's like, well, 7-year-olds, I'll tell you what they laugh at. They laugh at poop and fart.
And they're big about no scatological humor.
Yeah.
No, because I imagine there's maybe a lot of clean comics who like lean on poop
Farts
stuff
and like
because they're like, what else have you left me with?
Yeah,
and they're very clear.
Wait, what happens if you fuck up?
Well, I'm nervous because, like, if I'm doing well, I talk fast on stage, and if I'm like really wanting to, like, you know, get a real roll going, if I talk really fast, I get nervous that I let a fuck slip, or I do, especially for the jokes where I change something within it.
Yeah.
That I'll just accidentally. I tried, you know, the joke where it's my mom gave you a couple hand jobs at Hebrew school.
Yeah.
I've been trying my mom made out with you at Hebrew school, and it works with this joke. But I'm so scared. I'm going to be on stage
Just say hand
just
job.
doing well, pop in and say hand job and go.
Made out with a couple hand jobs.
Made out with a couple
Oh,
hand
that's
jobs.
worse.
It'd be funny if you said made out but did the hand job gesture.
No, you're not clean, but you've done clean stuff.
I have some clean chunks, and I like to do clean jokes. It's not that I like to do clean jokes. I just like jokes that have to do with, like, I guess they fall under the wit wordplay category, or like analogies. But I do, especially now that I'm back doing shows in the city and doing late night shows. Like, usually what I'll do is, if I'm doing an early show, I just keep it cleaner. Just as, like, I guess from my own sense of propriety that I've arbitrarily like drawn a line in the sand, and then like after 10 it's anything goes.
That's nice.
Yeah,
I like that
I just
system.
kind of like it. I feel like I'm a lady. I'm a lady before 10.
All right, these are the words: ass, asshole, bastard, bitch. They made it alphabetical for everyone. Ass, asshole, bastard, bitch, blowjob, clitoris, cock, crap, excrement, cum, cunt, damn, dick, dickhead, dildo, douche, dumbass, the D word for lesbians.
Oh, okay.
Your favorite word, the F word.
Okay,
For gay people,
Yeah.
fellatio, feck, F-E-C-K, feck,
Oh.
fuck, goddamn, homo, hooker, jackass, jerk, masturbation, jizz, motherfucker, the N word, nuts, testicles, pecker, penis, pimp, piss, poop, prick, penis twice. They say do not fuck with this. Prostitute, pubic, pussy, queer, sex, shit, slut, smegma, spunk, tit, turd, twat, vagina, whore.
Smegma was the one that stuck out to me, because it's
Yeah.
like, if you're not gonna say nuts, you think you're gonna say smegma,
Yeah.
you're out of your fucking mind.
Smegma, just
You
to be
can
clear.
say semen.
No,
Not
but
on there.
that's the thing. It's not on here, but then another document said don't say hell, don't even talk about religion. I heard you're not supposed to say Jew, even if it's like, I'm a Jew.
Yeah, because that's not clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jews are unclean.
That
So I
is
think that's why.
unclean. That
I think
is
that's why
weird.
they have not been baptized.
It's one of those things. It becomes racist also because like you're not supposed to like talk about race.
Yeah.
And so it becomes just like, you know, if you're a black person performing in Grand Rapids, Michigan for a white audience, you're not supposed to address the fact that you're a black. Like it just becomes. It's bad. It's not good.
Yeah.
So the jokes are like, my husband is stupid.
Yeah. I would die. I would kill to have a husband. I couldn't talk about it. I don't think you can even be gay. I think as we talked to Ashley Gavin, some cruise lines, she was you know.
Oh well, certainly
asexual.
I think that was a thing in. Oh, it's a thing in Dollywood. I think one of my girlfriends worked in Dollywood, and you had to sign a thing that would say like no alcohol and like swearing that you're not gay.
Oh my God! Really?
Yes, which is so crazy because the gays love Dollywood.
People love Dolly Parton, right? Like that's a
Who
very
doesn't?
Wait,
I
no,
mean,
Dollywood.
Her theme
That's
park.
her theme park.
Wait, Dollywood says you can't say you're gay?
That's what my friend told me.
You heard it here, folks. The
Wait.
downside is breaking.
She's like admired
We'll
by
check
the whole
it.
gay community.
I
We'll
know,
check it.
I know.
We'll check it.
Yeah,
We'll-
you do need to check it because I heard this from a girl I was friends with who worked there. No, she worked at like, I don't know if she worked there or she had a friend who worked there, but this is fifth hand information. Plus, I smoke pot, so I'm not reliable. None of my facts are reliable. Just know that.
All right, well, we'll check it. But
That'd be the scandal of the century.
that would be scandalous.
Everyone loves her so much. It would
Yeah.
be good to see her taking down a peg.
But also, you can't drink. You had to be like, I'm sober.
You can't drink at work, or you just in
You
life?
have to be like, you cannot drink because I
can't
think
show
you
up
have to
to work
live
drunk.
there. You have to live there,
Oh,
so it's
right,
it's like
right.
a dry campus basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh, I hate it all. So Indianapolis.
Yes.
You went to college. Was it
Yes,
Indianapolis?
I went to Butler
to Butler, and you studied theater.
Yes, we were both theater majors, so we had a chat about that. I remember not too long ago. I know.
I was invited to my college's showcase today,
Oh my goodness.
and I'm not going to go because it would be too sad. It would be too sad. I have too many feelings.
Were you invited to go to watch the students showcase? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Oh, not to perform.
No.
Oh, if it was to open it up, I'd be there in a heartbeat.
Oh, okay.
No. I was invited to go there, and then they would say to these students who have traveled to New York, they'd say, "We had some big industry there. We had Gianmarco Soresi from Comedy Central."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would have to go up and say, "I will never help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your
Well, how
college just
could
stole
you
from you
right now?
They're at the end of being stolen from. So it's too late for me to I don't want to make them feel bad. I want to let them have their day.
Right. Have a nice day.
It would be sad. Did you have a showcase for Butler?
No. We didn't do anything like that. It was very, my school, first of all, it was a theater program, but it was it really leaned more towards the avant-garde. So we weren't doing, we were more producing original shows, and that was our big piece. So it was more a program geared towards making your own play.
Okay.
Than it was towards
we doing a lot of
the
movement
Broadway.
work,
Yes, a lot of movement, mask.
Yeah.
Mask.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mask is fun.
absolutely.
Did you do any Suzuki or?
Yeah, we
okay,
did.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
we did. Oh, are you a theater major too?
I got my MFA, but I did it in grad
yeah.
school. I did.
We did Linklater.
Oh, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Anne
Linklater.
Bogart. Yes,
Oh,
Anne
yeah.
Bogart came. She came to the school.
Anne Bogart came.
Yeah,
It was very
We
exciting.
had a city company person come, but it wasn't Anne Bogart. But yeah, study.
so
with
All right,
Cool.
describe Suzuki in one sentence for a parent who's deciding if they're going to pay for their
Oh
child's college
my
tuition
god.
in a way that makes them go okay, $60,000 a year. Yeah,
It's a lot of stomping. It's a lot of stomping, is what I'll say, and chanting and stomping.
Is Suzuki with the concept of SOTS, where you go into SOTS the moment before the moment?
Yeah,
Is that?
It's
or is that
remember
Anne
the
Bogart?
marches I can't even remember
The synchronicity.
Yeah,
remember
you're marching
Synchronicity.
and you're and you're and you do Shakespeare. When I was doing it, you would be in uncomfortable positions, slowly lowering, slowly rising, and going
Yes.
tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace, doing Shakespeare monologues, but in these really uncomfortable positions.
Oh my god!
Oh,
wow.
I'm getting it's stressing me out even thinking about it again.
I remember laying on the floor for hours at a
Yeah.
rehearsal and I had back problems at the time and my hip was completely out of alignment and I couldn't really lay that way. And I remember being something's hurting and they were like, shh,
Yeah.
go into it.
Yeah,
into
yeah,
it.
feel into it.
Feel into it. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God,
And there's
what?
a person with a stick, hitting it.
There was a stick.
And you go into different
Yes.
positions when they hit
I
the
thought you were
stick
saying
each time.
that if you moved out of the position, the person with the stick would hit you.
No. There'd be different positions. That the stick would signify time to shift positions quickly.
Yes.
And they'd be and they'd hit it on the ground.
It was so pretentious. And
It was
delicious.
so yeah.
But it really kind of evolved a type of person that I hate because it rewarded people who would, instead of grasping the concepts and grasping what it was really about, it just rewarded the person who came up with the most batshit obscure answer. I remember once we were doing our work or whatever, we were working with this an ancient Italian play called Aminta. It's like an ancient text, and this like most obscure student raised his hand and said, I have a deep feeling that if Aminta were an animal, he would be a porpoise. And they were just like, bravo. And, you know, it's just like rewards people just pulling shit out of their ass and acting like they know it all. And it's like, oh, that's the worst type of person. That's one of the reasons I decided to just kind of like move away from that genre and make fun of it.
It's there with everything. There's so much I think about so much like scene study work where then they turn it to the class to like discuss. And looking back, I'm like, they're just filling time. Just filling time.
Yeah.
Much time.
The amount of like, I'm like, why am I spending 15 minutes of my class listening to the guy who just graduated high school with me and their thoughts on the other person's scene work? What is this for?
I hate that. Like, I hated it in school, and I also hated it in like, I still like if you're doing a theater job and you're like, there's like a time where there's like stuff that's helpful at table work, but then there's a time where just dumb people are like, I think blah blah blah, and they're just like filling this weird thing. They're like, why don't we just get up on our feet and do some stuff?
Yeah,
and like,
Sure.
there's this weird thing of like
table work for people.
I think that there's a lot of dramaturgy stuff that I'm like, it's,
table work is like you sit down, you go through the beats of the play, you figure, you know, what's your character's objective, what's their obstacle, what's their tactics. And I remember working on like new plays, and it'd be like, why do you think the character suddenly slaps her mom? And you're like, because it's a bad play, and the playwright just wrote that, and there's no logic here, and we're like bending over backwards to like say, why does this make sense? Well, you have to approach it as if the play is right.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes the play fucking blows.
Yeah.
That's the moments where I'm like, yeah, go do Shakespeare, because at least you know it's good.
I remember I was in a conversation while I was doing The Importance of Being Earnest once, and we were in one of these like an hour and a half long conversation about like why this play is still relevant.
Hello,
you know? And
I
it was
have an
really funny.
opinion.
It was a student director who was doing it, and he was leading this whole thing, and like why The Importance of Being Earnest is so necessary in 2008.
Necessary.
You know,
Yeah,
whatever
well,
like
yeah, oh my
whatever
God.
it was.
Necessary.
The importance of being
And
Tinder.
it was so funny because then one of the professors who was like the dialect coach, like helping out with the show, was like, he was like, I think it's just funny. And like, that's probably why we're still doing it. Like, it was like, that's enough of the conversation. Like, it's like this whole thing of like, for every play, I don't know. I got turned off from the world too. Cause I was like, there is like a built-in fuel for narcissism there, where it's like everyone's going around saying their opinion, and it's like the person that wants to talk is like the person that's talking. And I always hated that, because it's like, I'm not the type of person to be like, and I'm gonna butt in. I have something. Ugh, kill me. Yeah.
At least with comedy, you're by yourself. You don't have to deal with those other people, you know? Right?
Sure. It is. That is the thing.
You're like running to a spot. Bye.
Yeah, we don't have to agree on warm-ups before the show.
Yeah.
That's when I did one play. I didn't do too many plays in New York, but there was one where like they always want us to do like warm-ups before the show and crazy eights, and I was just at an age where I was like, no.
Yeah.
This is not how I get ready.
Crazy eights.
I pace in the back and I box an illusionary figure, which is my dad.
Well, there's a magical thing about theater, which is the huge amount of group effort that it takes to pull off a play, and everyone doing their little parts and stuff. But it's also like, it's just,
when Daniel Day-Lewis quit theater, he described very acutely the feeling of desperation he felt on like the first night, the first rehearsal, where everyone gets together for the reading, and the tech people are there, and the costume person is there, and there's snacks, and he like described very like acutely like the feeling of like, you guys are sustaining this thing that doesn't need to be, and that feeling of like, this is important. Here's the pretzels. We were able to afford pretzels this time.
Yeah.
But talk to me about, because we both left this world to a certain degree. I mean, when you moved to New York after graduating?
So I moved to New York. I was doing an internship at the Ontological Hysteric Theater, which is an experimental theater that used to be in St. Mark's
You didn't have to say
Church.
it was an experimental theater. We knew the second you said it.
I was the blubbity blah blubbity smarter than you commune. So I was working there, and I was doing my own experimental shows with a small group of college friends, and we were performing and we were doing stuff that was like a bit more humorous, and I was auditioning. And I actually really wanted to just do straight theater. I realized I was like, the experimental world, I was kind of going into it in college. I was doing weird stuff. And then I realized like, I really just love acting. I just love acting. And I maybe should have gone to more of an acting school.
Sure.
But I didn't. So I was like moving away from the experimental theater. I was going to auditions. I had like a couple off Broadway callbacks where I got close. And after the second one, I was in like the round of the last 3. I didn't make it. I was fucking devastated. Then I got cast, quote unquote, and I'm using that phrase liberally, in something I found on Backstage. It was a one-woman show where I was invited by a man named Jet to perform his play that he wrote about the government's rape of America. It was very salacious.
Did you audition for this?
I sent in a self-tape, I believe.
Reading part of the script?
Reading part of the script, yeah.
What was the name of the show?
Oh my God. I think it was something like, Making Love with a Pliable Penis. That was the working title. That we started with. So, yeah, so I was rehearsing. He paid for me to rehearse at an experimental workshop that was like over on the west side somewhere. So I was rehearsing with these other people that were nuts.
But it was a one-person show. So what were they?
They were doing their one-person shows.
You were all just standing in a room like rehearsing one-people shows?
We were kind of going one at a time and giving feedback. Because he lived far away. So he wasn't able to. He kind of just wanted me to like work on it, and then we were like going to check in. So after I had like worked on it,
How was the script? Funny? Weird?
It was very dense prose, and I didn't fully understand how graphically sexual it was, because I just like read like a little bit, and then after I was like working on it for like a few months, I was like, this is really graphically sexual, but it was just so dense.
Were you talking to the audience? Were you addressing America?
I was playing a Native American woman who was...
oh, man.
So that's the first thing. But I wasn't... And he actually did request that I get a spray tan, which I refused.
Good for you. What year was this?
2008 or 9.
Wow.
You are
trailblazer.
Yeah.
Wow.
2008.
Wow.
There's no way I would have known.
SNL wouldn't have.
SNL,
They would have made you good. Like that
Never.
is wow.
Good for you.
Well, I credit my drama teacher in high school, Cindy Reed, because she told us I went to like a pretty integrated high school, which for Indiana I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
She sat everyone down and was like, if you are serious about being an actor, you will never do blackface. It's considered disrespectful, and no serious actor would ever do it. So thank you, Miss Reed.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
That's I don't think at my school they thought they had to say that one. Don't do blackface.
Well, but you're
but
like
in Indiana, it's good.
In Indiana,
it's a crazy
Maybe you
thing
need
where
to.
you see the dates of stuff still popping up where you're like, oh, that was 2014.
Well,
Do you
in
know what I
high
mean?
school, I did Arabian Nights.
Yeah.
Where I definitely put on some bronzer stuff. Then we did Pacific Overtures, where you're supposed to be Asian.
No one's asking you to say all these.
And then I did a high school fundraiser, and I told them I wanted to make a joke. I was like, I wanted to say, thank God we didn't do Raisin in the Sun. And the drama teacher said, please don't tell that joke.
Yeah,
She was terrified. It was just that moment where she was like, please, I'm so
Yeah.
scared right now. But good for you.
Thank you. Well, not to say that we didn't have
You
some...
still played a Native American, to be fair.
Yes, I did. But it was a figurative embodiment of the country of America. Mm-hmm. So that's like why it was like, I'm not sure. It was like vague. There was a vagueness to it. But anyway, yeah, it was very graphically sexual. Long story short, Jet invited me to go stay with him in Honolulu, where he had decided to produce the show at I believe it's the Honolulu Players or something. It's like whatever their Waikiki theater is. So I went, and I remember like telling my mom, I was like, is that weird? My mom's like just running around busy. That's her whole life. She's just like, she is just off, like running always. Yeah. And she was like, I don't know, just go. It's fine. Just go. And then I told her I was going like 5 days before, and she was like, oh my God, what? You're going to fly? You don't know this person? Like, what are you doing?
Your mom said this.
Yes, she did a 180.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, but I thought, and then, I told my roommate, I was like, do you think it's unsafe? And she was like, well, I didn't want to say anything, but I do think you could be raped. And yeah, and I was getting on the flight in like 10 hours.
How old was this guy?
He was old. He was older.
old.
But I wasn't staying with him. I was staying in the hotel.
Uh-huh. How
So-
much money? Is this good money?
Oh, no. I mean, I was 23 at the time, so I got about
Yeah.
$2,000. So,
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
23 and I wasn't doing anything else, not bad.
I do remember looking back this one play I did with like a 6-week run, and I think it paid $1,500, and I remember at the time being like, whoa,
Yeah.
Yeah.
finally.
I had made more money, I think, doing like children's theater in Indianapolis that I was like, kind of like holding this up towards. But I was like, I hadn't booked. I was booking nothing else.
Yeah.
Student films that were like awful. I was getting like totally rejected from. So anyway, I went out. I did the show. It was weird. Jet was fine. He and his Scandinavian girlfriend were very kind to me, and and then he wanted to continue to rehearse it.
Did people see it? Like, how many people came to these shows?
It was small. It was it was a one-nighter, first of all. It was one performance. And then we did a taping. So he wanted to tape it. And then his plan was he wanted to use the tapes to like send it around for colleges.
That was the plan with my play too. It's like the college circuit.
the college
Yeah.
circuit, which
Thriving touring play college
Yeah.
circuit.
Yeah.
which I've never heard of since or before. So, but he wanted me to keep working on it at open mics. Can you imagine?
Oh.
And so I was like, no. And then
Do you have this tape?
I don't. I think I did have it at some point, and I never watched it because I just remember the sound guy was like touching me. You know how sound guys touch you?
Yeah.
But they're always like, I'm so sorry, I'm going to need to like pinch your nipple or whatever. They like excuse themselves. He was like touching me too much and it made me really uncomfortable.
Oh, that's terrible. What a nightmare.
I know. I was 23. I felt like is this.
What do you say? It's in that moment, it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah, he was also like he was like commenting on the performance and I just
That's even
felt-
worse. He was giving
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah.
The touching was one thing.
Well, he
God.
was blown away. He was blown away by my work, but he was like touching, like the waist touching, and I
Yeah.
just felt so uncomfortable. So that was one
no.
reason why I just kind of left, and I was like, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Jet wanted to continue working together, and God bless him, he was a very sweet guy. But I was just like, why am I doing this play about like sucking cock and war? Like this is not the direction that I want to go, and this is so far away from where I want to be in my life. And then I was just pushed by desperation to try open mics, to do stand up.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history. 12 years later,
Did
here I
Jet
am.
ever stay in touch? Jet ever write, say, hey, I saw you on Colbert?
He did not even acknowledge when I said I didn't want to work on the show anymore.
He didn't write
Oh,
back. He said, you're dead to
Jet.
me.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think I concocted some kind of bizarre tale of why I wasn't able to work on the show anymore.
you
So I
too.
think that was
Yeah.
probably part of it.
Like a clear lie, looking back.
I think I had said that I had been cast in an equity performance and I would no longer be able to work on it.
Oh,
But that I also wasn't able to say
It's
what
always
the show is.
It's always yeah.
You're like, sorry, I'm really into capitalism now. I can't.
Yeah. It's always risky because then they go, "We'll make it equity. Don't worry."
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I once vague. I once got out of something because someone on my old team said, "Oh, he booked a TV show with an NDA. We can't talk about it."
Ah, that's smart.
Yeah, it's smart. I felt.
That's probably the smartest thing
felt
to
really
say
with
because then
guilt.
it gets canceled and then
Sure,
nobody
my
knows.
scene got cut. I mean,
Scene got
there's all
cut.
sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Better than when the time, which I've brought up, I think, of where I told them my grandma, I booked something else. I said my grandma, who had already died, had died in the funeral, was the day of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then the booking I got fell through. And I
Oh,
went back
my
and I
God.
said they moved the funeral.
Oh my God.
One time I was having a hard time quitting my first job in New York City, and I tried quitting so many times, and like they kept tricking me into not quitting, and so then I just lied. I said I booked a job, an acting job, and had to go to Texas, and I was the only way for me to like quit somehow because I was like, they're like, do you have another job? I'm like, no, but like I couldn't quit this job, and it was really an awful job, and I needed to quit.
Yeah.
But I had to make up a lie.
I love Texas. It's Walker, Texas Ranger, the
Yeah.
sequel. It's something they must shoot it on location, and there's a lot of filming being done there now because
Yeah.
of the taxes,
But it was-
and everyone knows that.
It was funny because then it would continue. Like it would be like this. My boss there like kept in touch with me for a while, like
Yeah.
because we were friendly. But he'd be like, "How's the show going?" And I just lied for like a year and a half while I still communicated with him about like
That's a long
Do you know what I mean?
lie.
And then I saw him in New York like later on, ran into him in the street, and then it was fine. Like enough time had passed.
He
But it
didn't
was
ask
just
anymore.
No,
What was
no.
the synopsis of that
what
show?
was
yeah.
It is. Yeah, I forgot. I was gonna say another lie. I've told a lot of lies, I guess, in
Yeah.
my day.
Yeah, well, it's so awkward because, it's like you don't, especially with the creative world, it's like you don't want to be like, I'm rejecting you personally because
Yeah.
I can't stand this play and I think it's bad and I think
Yeah.
I could do better. But, it's like it's just easier to be like, I have a kidney transplant that I need to go to.
Jury
Yeah, well,
duty is when
especially-
I lied.
Oh,
Jury
yeah.
duty. And looking back, I wish I would have done it. I mean, jury duty, I'd have material. I would love to go do jury duty for the material.
yeah.
And the civic duty. But it was like the Monday before Thanksgiving. So everyone was saying they couldn't. They had a conflict. It was really easy. It was a lot easier. I was stressed. I don't know why I thought I think I was on hold maybe for one line for Blue Bloods or something, and I didn't get it or whatever. But I just said, "Oh, I have a Broadway audition this week, and I want to be an actor." And they said, "Good luck, kid. We believe in you. You don't have to do it."
That's good.
But it was amazing.
nice.
But it was Thanksgiving, so every single case
People were just like,
murder. They'd be like, "I
Yeah.
can't do it. I'm seeing my dying like everyone was getting
yeah,
into it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they just let all those murderers go that day.
Yeah.
I did jury duty, but I just stayed in the back. I said, you know what? I'm staying in the back, and then they just dismissed everyone. Finally, I said, "Oh, thank God," because I was too nervous to be like, "I haven't." So something came up, to just
Yeah.
lie in the face of government.
If you just name that play, you said I can't because this play
Making
is
love with a pliable penis needs me. I'm the only actor
Pliable-
of color in it.
What does pliable mean again? It's
Like bendy.
bendy.
Kind of like soft, I guess. But I think we changed the title. We did change the title at my suggestion later to Stop the Men. I remember. That just
Wow.
came to me. Yep.
Stop the men.
Yep.
Good. That's a better message.
I
than-
wanted to get on Laugh USA.
So I wanted to talk because I saw you were at the cellar and you were talking about dating someone who had a kid.
Oh, yes. Now, this was years ago. This was a guy I dated who, in my early 20s, I was always like, I wanted to date these older guys because I just thought, like, guys in their 20s, everyone's like, oh, I guess my bathroom door doesn't shut. My roommates will hold it for you. You're like, ew, what? Like... the guys in their 20s are like disgusting. So I was like, I'm dating older guys and that's what I'm going to do. So I met this guy. His name was Paul and he was a lawyer. And then on our third or fourth date, he told me he had a daughter.
Okay. Because that seems like a
First date. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you meet him originally?
I met him at my old bar I used to go to after I would work at St. Mark's. The 12th Street Ale House.
What do you think the rules are? Because if you're hooking up for the night, do you think there's need to be a disclosure of a child? What makes the disclosure of the child necessary? What do you think the rule is?
Well, the way he told me was I was playing a game which I thought I was...
Do you have kids?
Yeah. I was playing a little bit of a game. I thought I was so clever, back in the day. I remember I would just go on these dates and I can't really drink that much. I'd be like thinking I could drink people under the table. I'm just getting blackout drunk and becoming a huge problem. But we were taking a shot and then we were saying a secret about ourselves. So we would take a shot and yell out a secret.
God.
Yes, I was, at that time not
This is
too
like
far
a date
away
out
from
of like
home.
a rom-com. Like,
how
it doesn't
many
seem like
how many
real.
secrets did he reveal before the kid?
This was not the first secret.
Okay.
But this was one of his secrets. I think mine was like, I was in a play. I played Anne Frank. My secrets are all very
Anne Frank.
deeply narcissistic. Nurse secrets.
Your secrets are just your resume one by one by one.
Hoping someone in the bar is in the industry.
I'm EMC.
I played a Native American.
Yes, this was right around that time, actually.
And he's older, so his secrets are heavy. He's like, I've paid for 9 abortions.
Yeah,
my
yes. I think I can't even remember. It's so funny. Like, he must have only been like 34 or 35.
But you were what?
I was like 22.
So it
that's
feels
a lot.
like that's like
that's
an old
huge.
Yeah.
That's a gap, a big oasis. Anyway, so he would go. His daughter lived in Florida, so I actually never met her, but he would go visit. He would go visit her, and then we ended up just like kind of fizzling out. So it wasn't like a whole thing where I was almost a stepmom.
When he revealed it, was it? How did you feel in that moment?
I felt like, oh my God, you did have a secret. I knew it.
You really took it well.
Wow.
I was like fine with it because I thought like, who cares about dating a guy with kids? Like, he was a lawyer. He had a great like penthouse apartment that he would take me back to. And I was like, oh, like fun. I was teaching preschool at the time. So I was like, I'm great with kids. Like, that's just like another like special thing that I can do. Like, I can work with this. I was like teaching ballet. I'm like, I'll teach her ballet. Yeah. But meanwhile, it's like, no, he just wants to fuck you. He's not interested in a relationship.
Also, bonus, the kid didn't live like here.
Big
Do you know what I mean?
bonus,
Like,
yeah.
like there wasn't like I'm gonna have to see the kid right away. Kind of. It's like kind of like in your head.
So you never met the kid.
I never met her. I never met her. Paul and we really did not last that long because I was just too emotionally immature at the time to be in any kind of relationship. I remember I was trying to I read something that said you should ask a guy for help with stuff because that's a good way to.
What is this, Cosmo?
Yeah, something I said. Ask him for help with stuff, and then that is a way to endear him to you. So I was like, you need to do my taxes.
Ooh, this vixen.
Yeah, sexy.
Bring over those papers, baby. We'll get to work.
So much work.
Yes, he was like, what?
Yeah.
No.
Let me put out some music before I open up Excel.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so I just didn't know. I had one boyfriend in college and just a few little one night stands here and there, but I thought there was a thing where it was you're supposed to be bitchy and then that's part of it, but I was also deeply weird, so I was trying to hide that, dating, not let people know how much sci-fi I was reading, and be like, I love magazines. So that was my early 20s, just me as a person, just deeply confused about how I'm supposed to be presenting myself to the world. Mm-hmm. but yeah, so we broke up.
Now you're dating.
Oh, well, yes. Well, I have a boyfriend. I have
a boyfriend.
Mike
yes,
Vecchione, yeah.
Just sometimes you make sure. Sometimes you go in and you're like, oh, you haven't heard.
Oh, I know.
So that's
I know.
me testing the water. I'm like,
yes.
Still. How long you guys been together?
We have been together about 3.5 years. So
Mike
yeah,
Vecchione, you know Mike Vecchione, fantastic comedian.
Oh yeah.
And do you guys work together on the road? Do you do gigs together?
We love to do that, but since the pandemic, we haven't really. We just haven't had the opportunity. I mean, we were in Aruba together, so we do the resort down there.
I want to do this show. Ray Allen.
Ray
has this. Ray. It's what is the club called?
Aruba Ray's Comedy Club. So if you're going to Aruba, you have to go to it.
I know someone who knows him. I think.
Oh yeah.
My old neighbor Barbara, who comes to all of our shows.
Oh yeah,
she's friends with him. I think.
That's so cool.
I think I might be making something up.
BJ
but
the
she
DJ.
did he do a lot of stuff online during the pandemic?
Yes.
Yes. So
good.
yeah. So I'll.
Well, we know each other. He's reached out to do it, but always with 3 days notice.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
Right, I can't just go to Aruba for a week.
Gosh.
And then some people got stuck there. They got COVID there.
Yeah, I
or
heard
they
about
ended
that.
up being in Aruba for a long time, which I don't know. I think for a regular person that'd be cool. For me, I'd be like,
yeah.
Aruba.
Yeah. Well, I think if you had COVID when you were there, you just kind of had to stay in an Airbnb that you weren't really by the beach or anything. So it was the vacation's over. Now you're just in a strange home.
Yeah.
Is it hard dating someone who goes on the road and you're going on the road? I mean, there must be.
It is. It is.
I'm about to go on the road for a while and
Are
a bunch
you?
of weekends. About to do 2.5 weeks and then weekends in a row after that.
Yeah.
And I'm in a relationship and it's daunting. It's daunting.
You know, it's not fun. I actually do love alone time. I've never lived with a boyfriend before. I've been very independent for the entire my adult life. So this is, and we've only lived together about, it's been about a year. Initially, when we were dating, I was like, oh, this is great. Now I have my me time. And, you know, we would go on the road together sometimes. And it is hard and it's not fun, but I do kind of love like a little extra space every now and then. I love that. But I love it when we're both in town and it's like we have the Sunday place we go to and doing those little fun couple things that you get to do. But yeah, we do enjoy working together. We just did a short film together, actually, which was very fun. Yeah.
When you're away, one phone call a day? Not
Oh, no.
Really, you'll go
Please.
time. You'll take time.
Oh no, I'm multiple.
Oh, you're on multiple.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Please, I'm a call morning and night at the very least, and then if I have a thought, you know, I'll give a call. Which is actually at the beginning of our relationship, I was like, I won't be texted. You know, you don't text me. I don't want to go back and forth all day. I don't do that. But
you laid that out up front. You said, just so you know, don't take this personally. This
I
is
had
not my
to.
bag.
I had to because I had a bad experience. I've had like multiple bad experiences where, you know, like you have a great date and then the guy just texts you. Have you experienced this? I think it's a thing where it's just dudes. It's a certain type of dude. I don't know if it's like a love bombing thing, but it's like it is. Nothing gives me anxiety more than like you go on a great date and then it's like, hey, morning, beautiful. Like, I'm sorry,
Oh, no,
what?
I never did that.
Are we supposed to? Am I supposed to check in with you? I'm busy.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah,
But you text now? Or you text with him now? Like funny things? And
Oh no. I mean, we just chat on the road. We honestly barely. He's a very laconic texter. Mike's texts are like running to store. That's it.
wow.
Yeah.
No comedy through the text.
He doesn't do it.
Oh, that's interesting.
He does not
that's
do
very
it. A
interesting.
little bit here and there, if we're like kind of going back and forth, he'll get like a little joke in there. But yeah, he's just not a big texting guy. No.
And then before we move on to the last segment, I do preschool. How long were you teaching preschool?
Oh, so long. I was there. I was working at it's an enrichment center. I was working there at the desk for about 2 years, and then I was teaching like dance classes, and then I moved into the preschool.
Were you doing
department.
like Suzuki dance where you're hitting the floor?
I was actually, this is pretty hysterical, but I was teaching a hip hop dance class for after school, which is like, I mean, you don't really have to have any experience to be like teaching like the nene to like 5-year-olds, you know, you just teach it. But yeah,
Can you
so
do hip hop? I haven't taken it in a long time. I used to take hip hop classes.
I was taking dance classes for a while when I first moved here because
What kind of dance?
it was like just mostly jazz. It
Broadway?
was jazz. Yeah, little, but nothing like too crazy. It was like open level jazz and then like open level. I would do like open level hip hop, but like nothing crazy.
Sure.
And I was always in the back. I would always go to the back. But, you know, I'm not very confident with dancing. I just love like working out to music.
Yeah, it's fun. But those Broadway, you know, when I was in Washington, D.C., I was in intermediate hip hop.
Oh, my God.
And
good
then
for
you
you.
come to, but then you come to New York where the levels are real.
Yes.
And it's out of this world. They show you, 8 counts, and then they move on to the next 8, and you're like, wait, aren't we going to run this 8 for 40 minutes?
Yeah.
And
No,
they're like,
it's
no.
Do you still go?
No, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
You know, my frustration is I like to get like a workout in a day, and some of these dance classes, they're not enough of a workout.
They're not, because you're like spending so much time like watching, and then you're doing like the marking. It's like,
and the worse you get, the less of a workout it is, because the more of the run-throughs you're spending, like,
Yeah,
it's too much. It's like I'd just rather go to like a aerobics, actually, just an aerobics class, or really like a bar class where you're just getting like those. Before the pandemic, I was going to bar all the time, and it was amazing.
bar can be fun. Tova did this. She does. It's called 305 Fitness. It's like dancey Zumba.
I've heard of that. I've heard
Yeah.
of it. Is it fun?
Yeah, it's not to be sexist. It's not made for men.
Right. Yeah, it's more
And
like
listen, I go to classes that are only women and me all the time, but this one was like just all the way towards, okay, this feels a little and she accidentally went to one though. You just do like the same move. for a couple counts or a whole song, and she accidentally went to a positive affirmations one.
Oh my God.
Where for each move would have a affirmation. You're supposed to say it the whole time.
Oh,
so it'd
Jesus,
be like, you are strong, you are great, you are strong, you are great, you are strong. And she said she got through that first one. She said she'd never stay again. But I thought it would be fun. Our friend Douglas said he would like to do it. I think we should do it. Like a full affirmations Zumba class. And see if we can.
I'll do it. Oh, I would love it.
You'll do it. We'll all do it.
Oh, I would do it unironically. I think.
Well,
where I'm
that's
like,
the
this
thing.
is actually really helping. I see the light again.
That's the thing with acting. Even comedians, those of us who have this form of acting, like we know what it is to really buy into.
Yeah.
And the goodness that can be if you really allow yourself to go there.
Yes.
But it's been so long since I have.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder,
Yeah.
especially like I haven't had a big hard acting thing in a while, but sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I could take it seriously anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that thing where you're like staring into the person's eyes, and
course.
you're
All the
doing
time.
you're doing those like weird movements, and it's like you do kind of have to walking around through the space, like.
Yeah.
And I could do it, but if like another comedian friend walked in the room, I'd be like,
You'd be like,
I'm just fucking around. I'm staring.
Cold, yeah.
right?
Well, let's go on to our next segment.
This has gotta stop.
This has got to stop.
Well, I've prepared for this.
Thank God. What's your This has got to stop?
Because I'm not sure if I'm doing this right, but I will tell you this. As you know, I'm a comedian and I'm going around town at night, and it is not technically spring right now, but as I go around town, especially on my nights home, walking from the village and I'm going home, I always notice what people are wearing and what's going on with fashion. And it's just kind of like my little, I'm like, I feel like I'm out, even though I've been in like a dark room and I'm going directly to bed. But one thing I notice, and it's happening more and more, I think it's a lot of these kids who have been inside the past couple of years. They're going out. I saw multiple times this weekend, and I know we kind of had a cold snap, but even in 40-degree weather, like full tank top, full mini skirt, no coat, just out. A full group of girls. And I see these guys doing it too. No t-shirt. You have to wear a coat. You have to wear a fucking coat. You have to at least wear a leather jacket. Even that would be ludicrous in 30 degrees. So that's my rant.
Is it possible it was warmer earlier, or you think they just said...
This was this past Saturday when it was snowing the full day.
That is very cold.
It was snowing the full day.
I agree. But I also have the opposite thing of like in temperature wise of like this is guys up that I would have in that case is in like February. Sometimes in February you'll have like a random day that's like 65, 70 degrees.
Yes.
And I always get annoyed that people that wear an insane coat because they're just like, it's February, it's cold. Like they're not checking in with the earth. And so but they're like wearing a snow jacket and it's like 70 degrees.
Yeah.
And that's also bothers me.
Check the fucking weather. Put your hand out of the window. It's right there. It's right there. But, the thing is, and I notice this every year, it's like the first warm couple of days, you always see the hoes, and I'm pro-ho. The hoes go out and they have like, they're wearing like booty shorts and a tank top and, like a spaghetti strap. And it's like, those girls are fine. I'm not downing those girls. Get your summer clothes out on March 1st. Fine. If it's a warm snap, fine. But I think it's these like young people, these Gen Z people that they're going out for the first time and they just are watching Euphoria, which is set in California. And they think that it's normal to just wear a tube top and fucking nothing else. It's just infuriates me.
Do they look cold or are they fighting it? Do you see them?
They're screaming. They're like, that's so cold. It's like, your body is telling you a message, dumbass. Ugh, it just makes me so mad. It's making me more mad than black leather pants, which I see everybody's wearing now. Those too. It's like at least your legs are covered.
Yeah, this got to stop Euphoria.
Euphoria, sure. You watched it all.
I did. I just finished it.
I stopped at episode 2 of season 2.
Yeah,
so did I.
I said I'm being manipulated, and I
you
don't.
Really
I don't
are.
like
you
it.
really are. It's not good.
It was episode 2 for you. I was watching it, and first it had been a very long time from that first season. So there was a lot of like I've lost investment, but it was like I think it was they kept doing these montages of like why everyone's life was terrible.
Yeah.
Right.
And when they got to that woman who used to do the dominatrix stuff, and then like had a boyfriend who was like really nice.
Yeah.
and then she had a fantasy about some bigger guy killing her boyfriend and fucking her, and she started crying about it, and I was just like, well, that's okay. Okay, you wanted a 40-year-old The Rock to fuck you like that. I don't have sympathy for that. Sure, deal with that, but you're crying about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so. Yeah, I'll tell you where it lost me was this last 2 episodes of the first season when it just started getting like very bizarre with the plot line, and Zendaya was like, now she's doing a detective thing. It's like, well, what the fuck is the show? Is this supposed to be like a realistic portrayal of like teenagehood in the modern era? Because that's interesting. But now we're just experimenting. Like, is this a music video? I wasn't sure if it was like because they were on drugs or what, but I was like, this is horseshit, and it's an hour of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good. I think
the theater thing. There's some big
I think
theater
I'm
play that made me
done
interested.
with it. I think
You're done.
Well, the thing is, like, I don't care about anyone. Like, any of those people could die on that show, like be killed off. Not in real life. I'm just saying any of the characters could, and I'd be like, I don't really. I feel because you do feel like you're getting jerked around so much that you're like, I don't know what to buy into and what to care about. So I don't care about anyone. Like I'm just like, and they drop things like that whole plot line with the cam girl thing is doesn't ever come back.
Yeah,
does never come back in the second season. So you're like, what was the point of it? Where were we going with it?
Yeah.
They just forget that like you need to earn. You need to earn sincerity.
Yeah.
You need to earn
and
me caring
can be
about
great
something.
performances, but you're like, I just don't. It just feels like a manipulation and like an artsy like manipulate. Like
Yeah,
it's like
drugs,
look how beautiful
fighting,
this is.
sex,
Yeah, and
gender
we're edgy,
identity.
and it doesn't feel like it pays off at all.
It's like
So,
have some drama.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
And then when you think about just the further fact that they're all supposed to be in high school, it's like, well, this is strange.
yeah.
Because this is like a show that's fueled by just sex and sexiness, and then they're in
and
high
violence
school.
and
Yeah.
And no one's that nice. It's just I don't know.
Yeah.
Our friend Chris, he had an idea of just like a normal parent on Euphoria, and the kid like says something. He's like, "What the fuck did you just say to me? I'm your fucking dad. Go to your room right now.
Yeah. Yes.
Go to your room right now." I wanted to do one where the mom comes in the kitchen and goes like, "Why is there glitter everywhere?"
That's great.
Because I had lunch with my friend yesterday. It was a Tuesday. You don't
Oh,
need
that's
glitter
really really funny.
Yeah.
on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I was just going to say it misses out on like those magical high school shows like Freaks and Geeks and Dario that really, like Dario is a show that's like so iconic, but it's because it really like nails that feeling of like being an outcast, and it's so relatable.
Yeah.
So.
The thing that people don't, I feel like sometimes during TV shows, you're like, we don't need these outlandish things. There's like enough like small things that are very relatable for a lot of people are way more, if they ring true, are way more traumatic or way more like impacting than like so-and-so is fucking a drug dealer and they're going to like, you're like, I don't like, that's so, it's not in my life, I don't know. But I don't know.
Does Freaks and Geeks, I've never seen Freaks and Geeks. Does it hold up, you think?
I haven't watched it in ages. I haven't watched it in
like
ages,
10
but I
years.
remember watching it and being like, wow, it's really like down to earth. It's down to earth, and it's down to earth with like, in the time that it was made, which I guess was like the 90s, like I went to high school in 2000, so it was like, the identity then was like, which little clique are you going into? And that was the thing I remember finding really relatable about it.
Well, you've always been a big fan of James Franco's acting studio.
Definitely. Good.
And the sex class in particular that he taught.
Gianmarco likes to try and get me in trouble.
Let's go to our final segment.
You better count your blessings.
Better count your blessing. We end with something nice, something we're appreciative for. Russell, do you have
I have a quick one. It's Gianmarco. I couldn't do this podcast last week or the show, and I'm my blessing. Thank you for stepping in, doing the sketch that I wrote. Still got to be in the show.
Russell wrote such a good
Gianmarco
sketch.
did it, and I saw the footage, and it was so funny and so good, and I was glad. I really wanted it to be in the show, and then I was bummed I couldn't do it. So I'm glad that it was done, and you did.
It's about people. It's a church gathering. People, what are they going to give up for Lent? And this guy goes, I think I'm gonna give up supporting the troops. And the whole thing is he loves supporting the troops so much, and this is a real sacrifice for him.
Painful.
And it's a fantastic sketch, and I was honored to do it. I was filling in.
Yeah,
it was
you
a
killed
Russell
it.
character, and
Yeah,
I tried to
you
yell.
killed it. It was great.
Be sincere. My blessing. Well, I should kind of some news is that Fawn Sullivan, who was one of the producers on this, has she's got too busy for the downside, and she's working with Ronnie Chang on his many increasingly large ventures. But Paige Asachica, who was always a producer on the podcast and also manages my social media, is our full producer now for this podcast. Paige is so fantastic.
Yeah.
And
thank you, Fawn.
And thank you, Fawn. Fawn, you did a fantastic.
Yeah.
Fawn taught me a lot. And Fawn, she's doing great. And I'm excited just to have Paige kind of oversee all the stuff. And I still owe her a Christmas gift. I'm so close to the thing I wanted to get, which it's almost released. And I'm going to get it. So, Paige, I didn't forget. And by next Christmas, I will count it as both gifts. Do you have a blessing?
Trader Joe's.
Really?
I love it. I love it.
Do you ever get tired of it?
Yes, I
don't
do.
count her blessings a lot, but I have a Trader Joe's right here.
Yeah.
And I used to go all the time. And then something about it. First of all, I feel when I go into a regular grocery store, I'm overwhelmed.
They have so much more stuff there. But Trader Joe's is there. I always go there still because they have the staples that I need. But I go to other grocery stores too. But I love I love a TJ's because they have stuff there that you get addicted to it. The microwavable rice. You can't get that.
That is true.
You can't get that. The chocolate that they have there.
A lot of good
love
chocolate.
it. I love it. Meanwhile, they have no green vegetables really to speak of, but I'm not getting those.
Yeah.
Sometimes the longest conversations of my day are with those Trader Joe's cashiers.
They must do some kind of brainwashing to them to make them
They
compliment
really
your backpack.
Yeah, they
And
really do talk.
They are sexy. They're almost sexy to you. Like, okay. Every time I go in, I'm like, well, I guess a new friend has been made.
And I feel like it's not just the ones here. I feel like when I've gone other cities, and it's like something
a psychotic corporate
like
culture.
a cult
Yeah.
almost.
They feel like artsy type people,
Yeah.
like a lot of BFA students.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
vibe. That's the vibe.
But that's
a lot
why-
of different hair colors.
But you don't feel pretentious in a Trader Joe's because you're just at the grocery store.
Yeah.
You're just like everybody else at Trader Joe's.
This is maybe we could get a sponsorship from Trader Joe's. That would be nice.
Oh, TJ's.
I would like a sponsor very badly.
Oh,
Do you have
I
a sponsor
bet.
for your podcast?
Oh, no. We don't have anything
know.
like that.
I hear-
We
well,
don't have anything like that.
Speaking of podcasts, give us some plugs. Where can people find you?
Oh, please check out my podcast, Lady Journey. I host it with the comedian Sarah Talamash. We release
Talamash.
it every Tuesday. It's wherever you get your podcasts, and it's all about the journeys that we go on as women and those who have a feminine spirit. Lady Journey. Thank you.
And listen to your album.
Yes, you can get my comedy album, Feeling of Emptiness, on my website, katiehannigan.com/album.
Did you produce it yourself or with
I completely 100% self-produced. Can
Very
you believe
exciting.
it? Yes.
Wow.
I accidentally listed it as New Age through my distributing company, and I have not been able to correct it.
Maybe you'll be a number one on those charts, though. I mean, how many people
God
are playing New
willing,
Age?
maybe Jet will find it. Who knows? Maybe it'll be up there with Making Love with a Pliable Penis. So,
Are you going to put it on Spotify?
I am going to put it on Spotify. I just decided because I'm not a famous person. So
I don't think ethically. It's just such a
Yeah.
bummer. My album isn't there.
Yeah.
And so many my friends' albums, at our class and whatnot, where
Yeah.
I want to listen and it's not on Spotify.
yeah, I'm going to put it on. It will be on Spotify. Although if you're thinking of listening to it on there, please consider supporting me through some platform that pays me. That's really only for people that I don't have access to get outreach to, so they can discover me in
Yeah.
the New Age category, apparently.
Russell, do you want to plug, would it be April 8th is Uncle Function?
April 8th, Friday, April 8th, 7:30 p.m. Uncle Function at Asylum NYC.
Russell won't be there because he will have gotten COVID.
No,
a couple
I'll
days
be
before
there.
then. The new Omni Delta variant. I'm trying to get my plugs for real this time. So, this weekend, I'm going to be in Memphis, April 9th at Crackers Comedy Club. April 10th in Memphis as well. Find it on my website or write me. April 22nd, 23rd, I'm at Wise Guys Comedy Club in Salt Lake City, Utah. Weekend after that, Looney Bin, Oklahoma. That was a real one.
Wow.
And then, just so you know, I've talked about it before, but I'm doing a new monthly here at Sesh Comedy Club. It's the first Sunday of every month. So the one after this will be May 1st at Sesh Comedy Club. Tickets are just $5. We'll put a link in the description, and it's called The Silver Lining. And the first one went really well. And I think one day, if we have enough people listen, we had a lot of podcast listeners, a lot of Orthodox Jews came, which I thought was very cool.
I love it. They love
okay.
comedy.
They love comedy. And I think maybe one day, if it goes well, we can couple it with like a monthly live thing before the show. If we feel like there's a lot there, we'll try it out. So, other than that, Stop Men. That was the name
Stop
of
the Men.
Stop the Men.
Stop the Men. And one day that pliable penis is gonna be stiff, but not in the good way. Not in the good way. Like it's gonna go bad, and eventually you're gonna try to ply it.
Rigor mortis.
It'll be dead.
It'll be dead. This is the downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside.